Hey guys, I got a fun one for you today. So, I have quite a few friends who are having kids these days, and I hear a lot of complaints about how much college tuition is. So, I'm going to do a quick little video here and explain how you can use real estate investing to pay for your kids' college tuition with $0 out of pocket. And I'm actually going to say you can pay for two kids' college education by this simple little trick. So, the example I'm going to use is if you were to buy a duplex rental property, and I'm going to say this is a duplex worth approximately $275,000. So we have a duplex, it's worth $275,000. I always say you want to buy at a discount. That's just, if you're a good investor, you should always be buying at a discount. So I'm going to say you're going to buy it for about 80% of what it's worth. So we have a $250,000 purchase price. 250K. So I actually own a duplex that's right around this price range, and the rents on that duplex is about $1,300 a side a month is the rent, and multiply that by 2. That's obviously $2,600 per month. Now, I'm not going to go into all the math on how to analyze a rental property. You're just going to have to trust me on this one. I'll do that in other videos. But what I'm going to suggest is you buy a duplex when your child is first born. You're going to put it on a 15-year mortgage, and you're basically just going to leave it alone and let it do its thing. So I promised you that I was going to show you how to do it with $0 out of pocket. So I'm going to make a little assumption here. I'm going to assume that you're a homeowner and that you've owned a home for, maybe 5 years or so, and maybe you've got a little bit of appreciation, and I'm going to assume that you had some equity in it. So one of the ways to pull equity out of your home, there's a couple ways, but most common are you can either do a home equity loan or a home equity line of credit. You could also do a cash out refi. I'm just going to assume that you're going to pull a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. So for a $250,000 duplex, your 20% down payment. So if you are a non-owner occupant, you're going to have to put down 20% basically. Now, if you lived in this duplex for a year like I did, you can actually go get an FHA loan and do 3.5% down. But so your 20% down payment is $50,000, and you're going to have some closing costs and things like that. So I'm just going to say you need to have about $50,000, or 55, excuse me. So what you're going to do is you're going to go get a home equity loan, a HELOC or home equity line of credit for $55,000. You're going to pull it for $55,000. Right now, the interest rates on HELOCs, they vary. So there's a lot of different options that you have there, but I mean, you should be able to get somewhere in the 4 or 5% range, somewhere around there. So if you're making interest-only payments on $55,000, it's $2,200 annually. Or it's about $183 per month. So I know from experience that on a duplex like this, you ought to be able to get about, with a 30-year loan, you ought to be able to get a couple $100 a month cash flow on each side, so maybe $400 net after all expenses, and that's everything. That's property manager, putting money aside for maintenance, capital expenditures, all those kind of things. But now, I did say you're going to put this on a 15-year note, so you're going to have a little bit less cash flow in that situation. But I did run some rough numbers, and on a 15-year note, and then also taking into account this HELOC payment of $183 a month, you should be very close to breaking even. The other thing that you could potentially do is go ahead and put it on a 20-year note versus a 15. That's going to drag out your loan a little bit, which will decrease your payments. So you can always make extra payments to pay it off in 15 years if you're worried about having negative cash flow. So if you do this when your child is first born, so let's say 15 years later they're ready to go off to college, you're going to have a free and clear duplex. And the other thing is with a little bit of appreciation, so I think in Johnson County where I live right now, it's about 4.6% is the average appreciation per year. But just assuming 3%, that duplex after 15 years is going to be worth, let's see, $399,000. So you got a couple options here. Option one would be, now don't forget you have this $50,000 HELOC. You could also amortize this and do a actual home equity loan, but you need to pay that off if you've just been making interest-only payments at that time. So now you have $399,000 free and clear duplex, and you got a few options. So option one is you just sell it, you use the money to pay for your kids' college, and I would argue that that's actually the worst decision that you can make. So if you just straight up sell this, you're going to have to pay capital gains on all of those gains that you've realized, and you're going to take a pretty big tax hit, and then you're also no longer going to own that duplex. So the other thing you can do is you can do a cash out refi on it. So you're at $399,000. Now this is going to depend on the type of loan. So if you're doing a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac type loan, they will do traditionally a 70% cash out refi. So 70% of $399 is $279,000. So I'm not sure where you're sending your kids to college, but I would sure think that that ought to pay for at least 2 kids' college education, maybe even 3. And if you're using commercial loan products like we are, there are some banks that will actually go up to an 80% cash out refi, which would be $320,000. So that's a lot of money. So this one smart decision that you made, when your kids were born, you have $0 out of your pocket. You just used up some equity that you already had in your home. And 15 years later, there you have about $300,000 in equity that you can use to go pay for your kids' college education. That's it for today. Thanks.